Something unusual is unfolding deep in China's desert. From above, it looks like massive warships, carriers, destroyers, just sitting out in the sand. Not in water, not on display, just out there, exposed. But look closer and it gets even stranger. These aren't real ships. They're full-size mock-ups, replicas, built to scale on dry land. Satellite images show shapes that closely match U.S. Navy designs. Aircraft carriers with long decks, destroyers with familiar silhouettes. They're not built for display. They're built to be hit. Used for missile testing, targeting drills, and something far more strategic. So why now? Why in the middle of nowhere? And why are they mimicking another country's fleet? It might seem like training, but the setup, the precision, the timing, it all points to something else. A message. Quiet, deliberate, and aimed far beyond the desert. Deep within the desolate Taklamakan Desert, satellite imagery has exposed something inexplicable. Massive outlines of full-scale warships engraved directly into the barren ground. These aren't remnants of ancient structures or artistic installations. They're engineered with technical precision. One figure spans the length of a modern aircraft carrier, etched with a linear accuracy that mirrors real-world naval dimensions. Adjacent patterns resemble destroyers, positioned in what looks like a formation. The context is surreal. These ships aren't near any coast, dockyard, or naval base. Instead, they lie silently in a place where wind-blown sand would typically be the only sculptor. Even more baffling is the presence of train tracks slicing through the installations. The rails twist in unnatural curves, moving slightly around ship-shaped voids, almost like a simulation course. It hints at movement exercises, targeting drills on a static terrain. When military experts closely examined satellite visuals of China's desert shipyard, something startling stood out. The replicas weren't of Chinese origin. They bore the unmistakable features of United States naval vessels. One silhouette precisely mimicked the Gerald R. Ford-class supercarrier, massive, angular, with its prominent island structure and broad flight deck. Another resembled an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, a workhorse of the U.S. Navy fleet. From the configuration of radar arrays to the sleek hull contours, the copies weren't generic. They were hyper-specific, built to imitate actual American warships. Their dimensions align so closely with clarified schematics that defense analysts believed they're used for weapon targeting practice, testing drones, hypersonic missiles, or reconnaissance precision. Even their construction history, captured by time-lapse satellite data, reveals careful stages. From rectangular frameworks to progressively refined ship facsimiles, these aren't visual decoys, but land-based avatars of real naval power, laid out in the open. So why is China building American warships in the desert? The answer lies in its growing missile program. These structures are targets, test beds for anti-ship ballistic missiles like the DF-21D and DF-26. These weapons aren't like traditional cruise missiles. They launch high, fly fast, and then plunge down on their targets from space. More importantly, they're designed to strike moving ships at sea. That's where the twisted rail lines come in. One carrier replica sits atop a mobile platform, allowing it to simulate turns and evasive maneuvers, just like a ship trying to dodge an incoming strike. By firing missiles at these moving mock-ups, China collects data to refine its targeting systems. Some of the strange poles on the mock-ups are believed to be radar reflectors or sensors used to simulate real radar returns and gather impact results. It's not just target practice, it's weapons engineering in full force. If China's building fake US warships just to destroy them, we already know it can't be random. It's a warning. Now it's time to pay attention. Share this to someone who still thinks it's just a testing, and hit subscribe, because this story is just about getting started. China's warship mock-ups in the Taklamakan Desert serve a specific function within its anti-access area denial A2AD strategy. This doctrine is designed to restrict the movement of foreign militaries, especially the United States, within strategic zones such as the First Island Chain, which includes Taiwan, Okinawa, and the Philippines. These locations are vital to maintaining naval superiority in the Indo-Pacific. To enforce this strategy, China has developed long-range anti-ship ballistic missiles, the DF-21D, with a range of approximately 1,500 kilometers, and the DF-26, with a range nearing 4,000 kilometers. The full-scale mock-ups provide static, controlled conditions to test and refine missile accuracy. They allow ground-based operators to simulate terminal guidance adjustments, angle of descent, re-entry velocity, and final impact conditions without risking equipment in open sea environments. These exercises support China's effort to become the first nation to demonstrate ballistic missile precision against naval targets in motion. The stakes are economic as well as military. An estimated $3.4 trillion in trade passes through the South China Sea annually. By threatening foreign naval operations in these waters, China positions itself to exert control over vital shipping lanes, regional resource claims, and undersea fiber optic cables essential to global communications infrastructure. Intelligence services and private firms, such as Maxar and Planet Labs, now monitor the desert installations daily. Each modification, whether a structural upgrade, added radar panel, or moving platform, is analyzed to evaluate weapon system progress. In 2021, satellite imagery confirmed the presence of a mobile aircraft carrier mock-up on rails in Ruqiang, Xinjiang. Its curved track, with a radius of about 600 meters, was consistent with simulating evasive movement, enabling testing of missile strike reliability against shifting targets. In response, Japan approved the acquisition of SM-3 Block 2A interceptors capable of exo-atmospheric missile interception. Australia, under the AUKUS partnership, is constructing nuclear-powered submarines designed for long-duration patrols in contested regions. The Philippines, under the expanded EDCA, opened 4 new bases to U.S. forces, 2 within striking distance of Taiwan. Taiwan itself secured over 400 RGM-84 Harpoon missiles from the United States, optimized for coastal defense and ship deterrence. India responded by deploying S-400 Triumph missile systems along its eastern seaboard and increasing maritime coordination with the U.S., Australia, and Japan through the Quad framework. Each of these moves followed the emergence and evolution of China's desert shipyard. The tactical purpose of these mock-ups triggered measurable shifts in defense postures across multiple nations in the Indo-Pacific. The warship replicas in China's desert are operational structures designed for ballistic strike calibration. Their construction reflects exact U.S. specifications, from hull shape to deck layout, used to measure warhead accuracy, impact angle, and radar response. Every launch against these mock targets returns telemetry on strike performance, blast effect, and sensor disruption. The installations have evolved from flat wooden templates to 3-dimensional radar signature replicating targets. Their alignment, size, and positioning reflect real-world naval assets, and their presence enables China to test high-speed re-entry attacks at precise intervals under ground-controlled conditions. Each test represents a live rehearsal for disabling naval power long before it enters contested waters. The buildup is accelerating. New targets are appearing. Strike simulations are increasing in frequency and sophistication. This is China's engineering pipeline for naval denial. Subscribe now and stay ahead of every strategic shift that follows, because the ships in sand aren't the story, they are the trigger.